Welcome back. In this lesson, I just want to give you a little bit of extra ideas on how to use the graph. And one of the things we have done when we set up this graph in the world, that we told it to clear the line graph right when we click the setup button. There's another way to do this. We can actually go and create another button that we call clear graph, and that would be another widget. So if I say edit widget and I look for and I click on new widget, we can choose a push button. A push button is like the setup button, and I'm going to call it clear. Oop, clear graph. And that's a push button, which means you push it once, it does what you want it to do. Where did this button go? It's right here, so I want to move it. So like you see, there's a setup button. We can also have a clear graph button. This is good. Exit the edit widget mode and then go back down, and now we get a code. We got to put a code behind that clear graph button. So in the interface drawer, we have this when something is pushed. So now if you take this out, you notice that we have two options. We have the add copper strip, we have the add silver nitrate, clear graph, and setup. So clear graph is what we're choosing, but now you know that all these other buttons were push buttons. You push them once and they run once. What do I want to put in the clear graph? I actually want this one, this line graph. So I want to take this out. The way to do it is it's going to be covered. Let me just move it a little bit further out and then take this back in here. And the clear graph block will go inside the clear graph setup button. So here we are. So now we're clearing the graph separately. Why do I want to do that? Well, there's a reason. One of the things is sometimes you like to compare graphs to each other. We changed the code, so we're going to click Run Code. And now when we hit Setup and add copper, add silver nitrate, and run, you will see a graph forming. I'm going to wait a little bit till the copper is all used up. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to click forever now and stop this program. Now if I go and hit setup again, this time the graph is not cleared because we had taken that block out and put it here. So I'm not clearing the graph. I'm adding a fresh sample of copper and silver nitrate. I'm running again. And what you notice here is that the second graph is being drawn. Well, the first graph is still there. So this is more or less gives you a good comparison of what's going on. And boy, even though we have random movement, these are pretty good and pretty close. Again, copper ended, the reaction stopped. One more time, setup, add copper, add silver, and run. And now we can even compare a third graph being drawn right around the same area. So for example, let's say now we want to change the amount of silver nitrate that we have to begin with. So I'm just waiting for that last copper to be used up. Here we are. So now if I make changes, let's say I go to 250 or 250 here. And I go setup, add a fresh sample of copper, add 250 silver nitrate agent instead of 500. So this is definitely going to make a change in the rate of reaction. Click forever. You can compare the original graph to the graph that's being drawn now. And you see that the less amount of silver nitrate is going to decrease the overall rate of reaction. And so this is useful sometimes not to clear the graph. It's pretty useful. Of course, in this case, we have less silver nitrate to begin with, but copper is the limiting agent? No, it's not. It's actually the silver nitrate is the limiting agent. Okay, now if we want to clear the graph, we click Clear Graph so that when we click Setup again and Start again, now you're not comparing two graphs, you're working on one graph at a time.